He is running for president Wednesday of next.
Oh, before I forget, yeah, we've moved on now. We're done with the internet drama portion. We're done with the, iDubbbz portion of the broadcast. Like I said, I support Ian. I'm proud of him. I think it was very brave of him to come out and make this distinction. He did the right thing. Don't go out of your way and praise him as like the fucking heroic savior or whatever if you don't want to. I'm not saying that either. I'm simply stating that he did fucked up shit back in the day, recognized that it was fucked up, turned around and apologized for it. That's what being a man is all about. That's what being an adult is all about. So anyone that's like still fucking going crazy over it and yelling at him over it and freaking out over it is a weirdo. Okay? You're weird. You're weird. You can grow too, though. So don't worry.
Next week. In a private call yesterday, he told top donors that the race already comes down to three people: him, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. And he suggested on that call that Trump doesn't have a chance of winning. At least initially, Ron DeSantis would enter the Republican race as the most formidable challenger to Donald Trump. Sources tell ABC News he is expected to launch his campaign next week with an online video and a meeting with top donors in Miami before holding a kickoff event after Memorial Day, possibly in his hometown, Dunedin. DeSantis has made a name for himself as Florida's brash and uncompromising governor. He's banned abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy and barred classroom discussion of gender and sexual orientation through high school, picking a legal fight with Disney after it criticized the move. Disney, the parent company of ABC News, announced yesterday it has canceled plans for a $1 billion new campus in the Orlando area, citing, quote, changing business conditions. A spokesperson for DeSantis dismissed the move, saying the state was unsure whether it would come to fruition anyway. DeSantis faces some big challenges going up against Trump. He came into office openly portraying himself as a Trump clone.
Build the wall. Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired."
Oh my God, they're ripping into him.
Trump has called him disloyal, nicknaming him Ron DeSanctimonious.
Instead of being grateful, DeSantis is now attacking the very man who saved his career.
DeSantis has already looked like a presidential candidate since he won his re-election by a near 20-point landslide last November, making frequent visits to early primary states. But he's already made some missteps, including saying Russia's invasion of Ukraine wasn't vital to U.S. interests and stumbling during a trip overseas.
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
The attacks from Trump may be hard for DeSantis.
Bro, it's sugar, man. Let me say something. First of all, this video just ripped him a new asshole. But the funniest part about this is that the funniest part about it is that ABC News thinks that like the Republican primary base, not the national Republican base, not the general election voters, but the Republican primary base thinks it's a misstep for him taking a pro-Russian stance originally. No, man. That wasn't a fucking misstep. That was actually when he had the right instincts. When he turned around and was like, I'm so sorry, actually, we need to give Ukraine more money. That's when he fucked up, dumbass. No, saying that Russia, us getting involved with Russia is like fucked up is actually exactly the type of commentary that Trump engages in all the time that is very successful and very marketable to the base of Trump supporters. Okay? Of course, Ron DeSantis can't say that, though, because he's the Trumpian alternative that he is the Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders, okay? That's it. He is the electable Republican guy who is a machine politics dude. He's a machine politician within the GOP. He's a controllable factor. He's what the Republicans think is a good way to address Trump. It's not. They're wrong. For the record, yesterday on the Ethan Klein broadcast on Leftovers, I personally said, I can't wait. The ABBA and Preach guys are going to go fucking buck wild and directly, they're going to fucking immediately make a long-ass video about this for a 10-second mention. And I was, of course, right.
Thing about ABBA.
Fucking literally 93,000 views 53 minutes ago. Every single time, dude. Every fucking single time, dude. I hate it so much. $90K in 50 minutes is kind of wild, though. Not gonna lie. Do you know how much we got? Do you know how many fucking haters we have, dude? Are you kidding me? Ethan and myself together? Oh my lord. This is gonna be a fuckfest of all the weird incels, all the fucking NATO guys, all the worst people of all time in the fucking chat here. Ethan is the only person who can make Hassan look rational. Ethan and Hassan are perfect for each other. They have this insane need to be right. They had to loop me into it. They had to loop me into the drama because they are so hungry for clicks. They're so thirsty, dude. Of course they made a video about it. It's free clout. Yeah, that's another banger. That's going to get like 800K views easy. Most videos they have probably get around like what, 500, 600,000. That video, million clicks, easy. Stop showing this. They're jacking off to this. Yeah, they love that shit, dude.
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
The attacks from Trump may be hard for DeSantis to fend off, but the mere fact that Donald Trump...
Are you using React content? Bro, popcorn and kettle here, you make React content too? Okay. While I agree with popsicles being mid, what I can't agree with is how fucking stupid of a person you can be. That's not React content, you fucking jackass. That's drama. Okay? There's a difference between React content and drama. Why are some of you so interested in coming across like you are actually smarter than you are? Like you always... I hate when they do this. I hate when motherfuckers go, got you. I fucking got you. You're not a fucking huge fan. Shut the fuck up, dumbass. Take a week off. Drama is fun and you're really easy to bait. I know. It's not fun for me. I hate it. Which is actually not even true. I actually don't engage in fucking drama as much as I used to. I've been doing pretty well so far. Then ignore it? I am. I'm not going to watch that fucking video. I am going to ignore it. I don't give a fuck. You can't stop yourself? Brother, there's probably actively 35 different fucking YouTube videos online right now shitting on me with that have been written and popped off on the algorithm in the past week. You didn't hear about any of those because I don't respond to any of those. So shut the fuck up. That is the one time I pulled it up. Why did they put me on there? I do stop myself. I literally mentioned that I don't want to be a part of this fucking war or whatever. I don't like it. I want to be left alone.
is hitting him so hard shows that the former president clearly, at least now, sees DeSantis as his biggest threat to the Republican nomination. George?
And there are more challengers to come. John Carl, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click.
You are a part of the culture war? Yeah, I know. I represent homosexuality, nail painting, men being soy, and transing your children. That's what it is. So I'm like a perfect person to fucking yell at if you want to cover all of the broad issues that I talk about and shit on it. And oftentimes you can't actually address any of the things that I'm saying. Like, you can't address the talking points. So you just hit like, he's a hypocrite. He is rich but a socialist. Look at how much of a hypocrite he is. Or clipping me out of context and being like, look, there you go. That's it.
This morning, we are getting a much clearer picture of how Florida Governor Ron DeSantis plans to position himself as a presidential candidate.
You forgot the classic Hassan denies the Armenian genocide? Yeah, that's my favorite one. Because it's like, I never have. Like, you're just making shit up. But you were also, at that point, making shit up that I have, like, openly spoken out against. You know what I mean? It's like, saying that is basically like saying, like, Hassan actually loves, consuming white supremacist content. He's like a white supremacist. Like a big fan of fucking like Nick Fuentes or something. Like it's like saying that. Like people dislike you because you're racist towards the English. Shut up, bitch.
Official announcement coming next week. But he laid out these plans in a conference call with big donors. We're going to have much more on that in a second. But there is also this new development that plays into all of this. His feud with Disney, the huge entertainment company and major Florida employer, announced that it is canceling plans, they did this yesterday afternoon, to build a new $1 billion office campus in the greater Orlando area. Disney cited changing business conditions as the reason for not moving forward. CNN's Natasha Chen has much more on all of this. Natasha, this is what, like 2,000 jobs?
Yeah, John, 2,000 jobs. It was supposed to be a regional hub for parks and resorts. So some of the Imagineers that design all the stuff you see in the theme parks, as well as some corporate jobs, consumer products, support functions like finance, technology, marketing, communications. This was going to be...
Go ahead. Say that it was relocation, though. Come on. They're not doing that, which is a lie.
At a complex in Lake Nona that Disney purchased. It's just east of Walt Disney World in Central Florida. And the move was going to take over the course of several years, and the company was giving people some flexibility about this. I'm now hearing that some people who did not want to move to Florida actually left the company and found other jobs to avoid that move, and now it's not happening at all. About 200 people already did make that move, and so yesterday in a memo, the chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products said they'll work with those individuals, including the possibility of moving them back here to Burbank in the Southern California area. Now,
to be fair, moving from fucking even Burbank to Orlando is such a major L. Like, that is a gigantic fucking quality of life L. Like, you're living in sunny Los Angeles, California, and then you have to move to Orlando, which is like the absolute fucking ass cheek of Florida. Like, sure, California's got its problems, but like, who the fuck wants to be at like the third best place in Florida? You know what I mean? Orlando got better weather than LA. No, it doesn't. What the fuck? I think you're forgetting I literally lived in Miami. I lived in Florida, chatter. Fuck do you mean? Florida is the first place I chose to live in the United States of America. I got into a bunch of colleges and I chose the University of Miami. The notion that Florida weather is better than California is so fucking psychotic. Unless you like weirdly have a kink for warm, wet rain and humidity levels so high that the moment that you step outside of your house, it feels like you're stepping into like a wet room. It feels like every orifice you have is just pouring fucking wetness out of it. Like your sweat glands are on overdrive. And then this is before we talk about the fucking hurricanes, dude. I love living in Florida, brother. The weather is so good. I love swamp ass. It's like, I love feeling like I have swamp ass all the time.
Now, as far as reaction goes, Governor Ron DeSantis did release a statement through his spokesperson, and I want to read that to you. This was acquired by our colleague Steve Contorno. He did say that it was unsurprising that Disney would cancel the project given the company's financial straits, falling market cap, and declining stock price. Unsurprising they would restructure their business operations and cancel unsuccessful ventures. So when we did hear from other local leaders as well, Orange County Mayor
that's so funny.
Demings and the Florida Democratic Party chair.
First of all, they're not even wrong, right? Like, that's the real reason why Disney did this, right? It's not because, like, they're fighting against Ron DeSantis and they care about gay people. But the real reason is because it was probably too expensive of an endeavor. They got too much internal pushback. If you had 200 fucking people say that they don't want to move to Florida out of 2,000 people that were slated to relocate, all of a sudden you're rethinking the project, right? It's just cost benefit. Exactly. It's just cost benefit analysis. There's nothing other than that, right? But what are the chances that Trump actually says good shit about Disney to dunk on DeSantis? He already did say that. He said that last night. Because Trump has better political instincts than Ron. Here it is. Let's find it. I said this last night. I said, Trump has much better instincts than a career GOP company man like DeSantis who somehow forgot the purpose of anti-woke culture war battles. It's to distract the base as you help defend corporate profits, not the other way around. DeSantis, which, by the way, is better than DeSanctimonious. I don't know why he said DeSantis, is being absolutely destroyed by Disney. His original PR plan fizzled, so now he's going to go back with a new one in order to save face. Disney's next move will be the announcement that no more money will be invested in Florida because of the governor. In fact, they could even announce a slow withdrawal or sale of certain properties or the whole thing. Watch! That would be a killer. In the meantime, this is all so unnecessary and a political stunt. Ron should work on the squatter mess. Yep. Ain't nobody is thinking about this like Ron DeSantis taking a brave and bold stance against a pro-LGBT company. Everyone is thinking, what the fuck are you doing? You're a Republican governor. We hired you. We appointed you to deregulate businesses. We didn't appoint you to fuck up the bag for the biggest business in the goddamn state. Told you. Ron's got bad instincts, dude. Bad instincts. Doesn't understand. He is way, way, way too dependent on his own fucking, on his internal team. He is behaving like a fucking Democrat. Well, except Democrats never actually follow through on policy promises. But he's behaving like a Democrat in like in the way that he is operating in the wrong way. He thinks if I make a promise and I follow through on it, people will actually respond positively. Not realizing that historically speaking, the reason why the red wave in the midterms turned into a red puddle is precisely for that reason. Because Republicans fucked up and did follow through on a promise that they had made about criminalizing abortion. And then they suffered the consequences of that. That's one reason. Let's continue.
Are all saying that this is really because of the DeSantis-Disney feud that they feel that they've lost these Florida jobs. In the meantime, the Trump War Room official campaign account on Twitter also put up this tweet yesterday, quoting this story, saying Ron DeSanctimonious gets caught in the mousetrap. The culture of losing continues. So this really played into the politics of the moment. And of course, a lot of business decisions went into this as far as what made sense for the company, but you can't help but see this in the greater context as well of whether they will thrive as a business as they are having this feud with the governor of the state. John.
All right, Natasha Chen for us, thank you very much. As we said, this is part of a much bigger moment for Ron DeSantis. And the new developments are, last night he laid out his vision of a presidential...
Idiot. Banning abortions after 6 weeks, effectively banning all abortions, stupid. The migrant e-verify bills that will punish businesses $10,000 per head, stupid. 60% of his agricultural output in the state of Florida is undocumented. Dumbass. Why would you do that? Dumbass. You're dumb. Florida is not as red as you think it is, dumbass. Pretty fucking red, but it's no Texas. You're so stupid. You're so stupid when you fucking turn around and do that in Florida and you go against like Republican values, like core Republican values, like government interference in businesses, dude. You did two major fucking bills that undermine business interests. Immigration laws, and I talk about this on the second part of my tweet. Same goes for his new immigration policy. The entire purpose of immigration laws are to create a permanent underclass that has no legal protection and will work for cheap. If you actually fine businesses $10K per migrant worker, you'll effectively wipe out your agriculture sector. Okay? You're supposed to just say you don't want migrants, not actually make businesses legitimately purge all of the undocumented immigrants from their ranks by financially threatening them. The financial threat to businesses hiring undocumented immigrants has historically always been cheaper. The fines you have to pay have always been cheaper than actually not hiring undocumented immigrants for years and years and years. That's the whole point. It's a calculation that businesses make. It is deliberate policy designed to just basically give you a slap on the wrist when you're working your fucking undocumented migrant workers to the goddamn bone. And then when they ask for back pay or when they complain about like sexual assaults in the workplace, then you call INS or now ICE. And then you pay a fine to the fucking, federal government for basically taking them out of for basically making it somebody else's problem. Only to then immediately go back and refuel with a new wave of migrant workers. I'm not even joking. Like, this is the express design for why our immigration laws work the way that they do. And I have said time and time again, if someone was like genuinely like a fucking fascist or ideologically someone was just like straight up not interested in having any migrant workers in this fucking country, then they would attack businesses. They would actually attack the businesses that hire immigrant labor. Some states have in the past, and they've suffered financial consequences for it. Alabama comes to mind. Georgia did it at a certain point as well. Those states went back on these legislative changes that they'd made. You want to know why? Not because they like undocumented migrants or decided it was inhumane. It's because there was no agricultural output. That's it. When you make it so that businesses can't hire migrants, you literally are basically fucking ruining the main reason why you have immigration laws to begin with.
Potential campaign to major donors. With us now from Florida, CNN's Steve Quinterno. And Steve, I've been on conference calls with campaign strategists that sounded like what Ron DeSantis did last night, where he laid out his case for how he's going to win, and he sort of made it all about electability.
That's right, John. And we know that DeSantis has been meeting with donors for several weeks now leading up to this expected launch. And one of the reasons he has been meeting with them is to shore up their support, because a lot of them are concerned with some of his recent moves and some of his recent stumbles. There are Republican donors who object to the fact that the state signed this 6-week abortion ban. They're concerned about his waffling on whether he would support Ukraine.
What's going on? Is there an issue with the audio? I can't hear it. I don't hear any issues.
And whether this Russia is in the right in this war. And so he has taken a more direct role in assuring these donors that he has a strategy to beat Trump. And that strategy is to say, look, I am much more electable, especially in the states that are going to matter in the presidential contest against Joe Biden. Listen to what he told those donors, according to the New York Times. He said, "You have basically 3 people at this point that are credible in this whole thing, Biden, Trump, and me. 2 have a chance to get elected president, Biden and me, based on all the data in the swing states." So not only is he clearly saying, look, it's between me, Trump, and Biden in a way that just totally did.
Oh my God. Does Ron DeSantis think he's in the Democratic Party? Like, what the fuck? Bro, Republicans don't talk about electability like that. Because Republican politicians don't run away from their base. They run towards it. My boy, you're not supposed to say you're the most electable. That only works for the Democratic Party who's watching MSNBC. That only works for the Democratic Party primaries, by the way. You're in the Republican primaries. In the Republican primary, you're supposed to, like, do hate crimes and stuff so that they understand, like, you're with it. You know what I mean? You're supposed to say a slur and then go, fucking gay-ass liberals getting mad that I said the N-word. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're supposed to do to win prominence. They don't give a fuck about electability, idiot. And by the N-word, I mean nuclear. Yeah, Jeb Bush, dude. Supremely electable Republican candidate.
Dismisses the other Republican candidates in the field, but he's saying Trump can't get elected. And that's not necessarily surprising to hear that from a candidate who's trying to curry support. But DeSantis has really avoided going directly at Trump throughout most of this run-up to his campaign.
Oh my God.
And yet he...
Oh my God. I just realized something. This is a callback. Even Trump realizes the severity of the N-word more than Charlie. He literally always says, the N-word, you should never say it. Very bad word. It's not just edgy, folks. It's very bad. Oh, that you should never say it. Yeah, he equates the N-word to using a nuclear weapon. God, he's so good.
Here he is in very stark terms saying, look, this guy can't get elected again. I'm your best bet if you want to get a Republican in the White House in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it's very blunt language. Even more interesting, as I said, coming from the candidate himself, not a strategist there. So, Steve, where does this whole Disney thing fit into it, with Disney making this announcement just days before Ron DeSantis is going to make it official that he's running for president?
Well, it's just another sign that this back and forth between Disney and DeSantis isn't going away. It's been such a huge part of his narrative. And on his terms, he wants to talk about Disney. He made it a whole chapter
Man, I'm just excited for the content.
In his book, he frequently discusses it on the trail when he's in political events in Iowa and New Hampshire and all these other states. But Disney continues to punch back in a way that puts this in a negative light for DeSantis, just as they did when they outmaneuvered him earlier this spring, and now suggesting that they are going to cut 2,000 jobs, high-paying jobs from the state, really is giving his opponents an opportunity to ding him as anti-business as he prepares to enter this primary, John.
Yep.
It'd be very interesting to see if DeSantis
Told
thinks
you. Straight up. Oh, by the way, there was a really funny thing that happened today during the G7 talks when they were like, how many more billions do we need to give to Ukraine? The Defense Department came out and was like, oh yeah, by the way, we fucked up. We actually over accounted for $3 additional billion because of an accounting error. So now we even have $3 billion free dollars that we can give worth of weapons to Ukraine now. And I was thinking, like, $3 billion is a rounding error to you? And you want to still use that on Ukraine? Like, just come on, give it back. Give it back. If $3 billion is a rounding error, if it's an accounting error, then come on, you have to give that to the American people. You have to fund like free college or something. That's crazy. It's old weapons sent to Ukraine, not cash. No, the $3 billion accounting error was actually for the restocking fee. Are you just saying that, or did you actually look into this? Like, why did you just say that? It's true? No, it's not. They do give them old weapons. That part is true. But the $3 billion accounting error, as far as I understand it, was a miscalculation on the restocking fee, where they miscalculated that they were going to have to restock some of these old weapons, which they added on to the cost of the $150 billion. And they openly admitted it is funds. Yeah. And they're, by the way, dumping it back into funds, additional weapons for Ukraine. So to the NATO Andes, I must ask, why did you immediately, because it wasn't overvaluation. I know, because I did read. But the NATO Andy didn't read. The NATO Andy just went in. The NATO Andy did not read. The NATO Andy went to immediately rush to defend it for some reason. I don't know why. So tell me, why did you feel the need to do that? Self-admitted article head? No, I didn't read it. I'm lying. I did not read it. They're calling it the R word. Restocking weapons, folks. You wouldn't believe it. Restocking it like none other. The error was in the valuation of the equipment that was sent. It says it right there. No, the error was in the restocking fee of the weapons that they sent over, not necessarily in the actual. Look, when the miscalculation was discovered, the Pentagon's comptroller reissued guidance clarifying how to value equipment to ensure the services use the most accurate accounting methods, defense officials said. The process is now underway, meaning there's a possibility additional savings could be found. The overvaluation has not constrained our support for Ukraine nor impact our ability to flow capabilities to the battlefield. In some cases, oh, here it is. The department discovered inconsistencies in equipment value for Ukraine, Pentagon spokesman Sabrina Singh said in a statement. In some cases, replacement cost rather than net book value was used, therefore overestimating the value of the equipment drawn down from U.S. stocks. So again, there it is. They added that. And first of all, by the way, when you send old weapons, like, you're still paying for that. For the record. No, they literally said that's not restocking. That's not restocking? What is that? Replacement cost. What is that? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Are you baiting? Like, what the fuck? Replacement cost and inventory valuation method. Yes, I know. In the easiest way to describe it, it is fucking a restocking fee. Like the cost of how much you have to spend to refill your arsenal, like Trump says. Believe me, our arsenals were depleted. Yeah, look, the mistake which the Defense Department discovered after an internal audit in March occurred because the military services were using cost estimates based on new hardware rather than depreciated older equipment that was pulled from U.S. stockpiles. Exactly. What's your point here? They're moving on for a formulation that doesn't account for replacement on the back end, which is good, I think. No, they're moving. No. They still have the replacement on the back end. It's just that the dollar value assigned to it is not for new weapons to replenish the stocks. It's for the old weapons that have the same exact valuation. So they're basically accounting for a $3 billion amount for overestimating. Dude, I don't even think this was an accounting error, by the way. I think this was deliberate. It was not an accounting error. It was done by design. Every business does this. Because at the end of the year, you need to make sure that you spent all the fucking every dime that you got in your department, lest you want some cutbacks. Oh, does your account give me malware? What account? You are conceptually correct without getting into obsolescence and other accounting minutia that matters in the fine details, but not needed to explain what occurred correctly. Can't explain the adjustment that needs to be made, but says every company does this. Yes, you fucking idiot. The principle behind it is the same. If you suspect that this was done deliberately, which I do, then you arrive at the conclusion that it's done in the same exact way that people fucking, move dollars around to ensure that they've spent all of the money that they got. It's very strange listening to you talk about this just after listening to you on the Graham podcast. Oh. Yes, net book value is the original purchase price less the accumulated depreciation. The replacement cost would be buying a new weapon today. Exactly. So they're giving stockpiled military weapons over, like older weapons over, whose value has depreciated over time, right? But the restocking, like the dollar value assigned to basically replenishing your stockpile, was done off of the estimate of new weapons in order to replenish the old weapons. So that's the reason why there was a $3 billion hole in their, there was a $3 billion budgeting error. It's just, I think that it's a trick that normally they wouldn't look after, that normally they wouldn't really care about that much, because the military has, what's the amount of billions that they don't have any account for at this point within the DoD? Like, the military can get away with doing this shit. That's a conspiracy theory, bro. What? It's a conspiracy theory? Wait. On. Hold on. Let's see. Pentagon can't account for $220 billion worth of gear given the contractors. The actual total is probably higher, according to the Government Accountability Office's new report. This is from January 2023. $220 billion worth of weapons and gear they have no account for. The Defense Department fails another audit, but makes progress. The Defense Department has failed its 5th ever audit, unable to account for more than half of its assets, but the effort is being viewed as a teachable moment, according to his chief financial officer. The Pentagon can't keep track of its money. Do you understand why the $3 billion is nothing? Oh, here, this is it. This is what I was looking for. The Pentagon's $35 trillion accounting black hole. Oh, no, this is not what I was looking for. The $35 trillion is the F-35. That's not what I'm talking about. There's like literally a straight up fucking black hole in here. This is the F-35 program, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Oh, no, it isn't. This is the one. According to Bloomberg's Anthony Carpaccio, the Department of Defense made $35 trillion in accounting adjustments in 2019, easily surpassing the $30.7 trillion in adjustments recorded in 2018. Carpaccio notes that the number dwarfs the $738 billion of defense-related funding in the latest U.S. budget, spending a plan that includes the most expensive weapon systems in the world, including the F-35 jet. So whenever you think like, oh man, why is healthcare so expensive? Like, why the fuck does the government not provide that when they do it in like countries like France? You know what I mean? Like countries like Germany. Why can't I get subsidies for the top of the hour ad break and have to wait for someone to gift me a sub? And that requires me to be lucky. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Like, if you have opinions like that, yeah, the F-35 was only $990 billion. Yeah, it's only $1 trillion, the F-35, which you can't fly if it's raining. North Shark Saboteur, thank you for the 5, get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Speed Racer, thank you for the 5, get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. So, here's the 3-minute ad break now. CurlyTop.com. Thank you for the 521. Give the subs as well. Yeah, here is Jon Stewart grilling the DOD lady, fucking ripping her a new asshole on this exact matter.
Questions of somebody within a department of that size and scope.
Do you feel that it's somewhat unfair? You have a particular thing you really want to talk about, and you're asking me other questions. But I don't think it's unfair to ask me about the audit. It's absolutely the case that the United States military should be able to pass an audit, and we've got to be on that pathway to get there.
But don't you think that does speak to the larger point that we're trying to get at, which is good journalism uncovers corruption? And
okay, I mean, good journalism does uncover corruption, but I'm not sure these two things are linked. An audit is not.
But they are.
Okay, so you need to explain.
This psycho. The defense deputy secretary has the audacity to say that like trillions of dollars of rounding errors is simply not an indication of corruption. I don't know what to say about that. Like, I just explain that to a human, dude. Like anyone that is not literally inside of the asshole of some fucking DC staffer, explain that to like a regular dude in middle America. Be like, what? It's a fucking $35 trillion, unaccountable, unelected budget that we took from you, actually. We took that from you in the form of taxes, and actually, we have no idea where it is. So shut the fuck up.
To me, do you understand what an audit does and the degree to which it is linked to the question that you're asking?
I believe so.
Okay, go ahead. Give me your explanation.
No, I don't mind learning. So what I would suggest is that the audit that they have in the military doesn't really look at whether or not there's efficacy. It's just whether they got delivered the thing that they ordered. And
that is any audit. That is any audit. That is true.
But generally, those audits aren't $400 billion for Raytheon and $1.7 trillion for a plane that doesn't seem to be doing. Like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these pieces.
Then please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is
difference
exactly what you just described,
yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
Loki, the fact that you can't even fucking account for that, by the way, when you're the United States military, is psychotic. Like, you're the Defense Department and you can't account for that? That's crazy. Like, oops, where do we send the nuclear bombs? Like, I don't know. Fuck it.
Pass an audit, or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now it's a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
It's such a funny fucking moment because she's literally like, no, just because the United States military is wasteful, fraudulent, and abusive doesn't mean that there's an indication that there's waste, fraud, and abuse. It doesn't work that way.
Waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure
that
I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see.
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good, we should be talking. I mean, well, I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell me that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
When I see.
He's like, please, parachute cord. Thank God. We can talk about something else. Because my browser told me your stream has malware. It doesn't show it in other streams, only yours. Is this like a new meta or something? Is this a new joke? There's like a couple people that have said this so far. How could I have malware? I don't really understand. Like, explain to me how I could be doing, like, how I could be giving you malware. Did some Discord weirdos report your Twitch link to Google or something? Maybe. Your stream does act funky for me a lot more than other streams. I don't know. It's out of my hands. That's the point. Because I'm not like I'm not Mr. Twitch. Click my name and read the messages. Can you tell me what your browser is and I could try to figure out? He said it was a Twitch extension. He got timed out, but that's what he said. So it's a Twitch extension that you use that may have had some malware issue somehow. What Twitch extension do I use? See users Hasan Kayapix. Got him, boys. No! There is just no way that I could like give you malware. I don't know how I would actually have malware on screen. It would quite literally have to be Twitch doing it. You know what I mean? Oh, let's just continue.
A State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that. And I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services. And then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption. I'm sorry. And if that blows your mind.
Bro, he's such a lib. He's like, wow, the fucking imperialist war machine that is taxpayer funded. Don't say based. That's the dumbest fucking argument against this. Like, no, man. I mean, that's fucked up, certainly. But like, this is why liberalism lacks imagination. Okay? This is why liberalism lacks imagination. Like, he looks at the internal budget of the Pentagon and says, man, how fucked up is it that you can't even account for like hundreds of billions of dollars of, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? You can't account for that. You don't know where it went. But you got, hungry soldiers. No, man. The bad part about it is not that like the soldiers are going hungry. Like what? Do you think that if they didn't have rounding errors, or do you think that it would be fine that the U.S. military exists as this fucking behemoth if there were no hungry soldiers, but they still had these, accounting errors? Like, what kind of fucking take is that? No, the main issue isn't that the military has this like accounting error and like soldiers are still hungry. The main issue is that the military is getting an unlimited amount of funds when people are hungry both in the military and outside of the military. Okay? Like, American taxpayers are paying for this shit. We don't know where the fucking money's going. Teachers can't pay for like school supplies out of pocket. They have to take second jobs. This country is fucked up. It's fucked up. And this behemoth is just sucking all of the taxpayer dollars. Meanwhile, we're nickeling and diming on the limited amount of benefits or entitlements, if you want to call it that the government already refuses to offer usually. Like, that's fucked up.
And if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay. On food insecurity, major priority for us. A lot of funds are going.
Yeah, there you go. She was excited for that because she has talking points to address that. That's why she was like, oh, thank God we're changing the topic to something that I can talk about Because I already have the talking points for it. And that's what you fucking get if you do not have an antagonistic relationship with the military existing in the way that it currently does. And your only anger is that, like, the rank and file are starving. Yeah, they should be fed better so they can be better killers. Like, what the fuck does that mean, dude? No, everyone should be fed better, and they shouldn't have to join the fucking military. Okay?
Toward that, the biggest issues we have found, first of all, we have significantly increased funding on food insecurity. And we do think we are getting much better on that. We believe some of the challenges we face are not what you often think of as, food insecurity as hunger. They're really around, do we have food available? For instance, as people come on and off shifts, is it healthy food? Those are the types of food insecurity issues we are seeing in and around our military installations. We have increased pay 2 times in a row here. We've done 4.6% pay raise last year. We've asked for a 5.2% pay raise this year. We've also increased basic allowances and increased housing and pay.
JD Pond military bureaucrat starving the American imperialist forces. Yeah. This is some fucking fifth column shit, dude. Infiltration from within. Yeah. She said these American pig dog warmongers are bloodthirsty, and if they want to pick up a weapon and kill the fucking children of the laborers of the third world, that the hyper exploited global South, then they have to really want to do it because we're going to starve them every step of the fucking way. I mean, think about it. She's also, like the housing availabilities are dog shit too for the military. They're doing it. They're already doing it. Food insecurity is based unlimited first world genocide. This woman.
Other allowances. So overall, we definitely think we need to increase the spending that we are putting forward toward our service members and their families. We're putting our money where our mouth is. Another big area is childcare. Spending a lot more money on childcare. That includes both childcare facilities and it includes benefit that allows folks to go out on the economy to get childcare and have that subsidized by the government. Those are all examples of ways we're trying to put money forward for our service members and their families.
You understand that, like, this is just about, like, more recruitment, right? Like, Jon Stewart could have just literally been like, yeah, because of these actions, like, the military can't recruit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's so stupid, bro. That's not the fucking problem. The problem is that, like, where's the money going? Not that, like, oh man, I can't believe we don't know where the money's going and the soldiers are hungry. The problem is, where's the fucking money going? And everyone's hungry. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway, he still owned her.
Families.
But I liked that because I liked watching that because I wanted to show you, like, the difference between my way of thinking and Jon Stewart's way of thinking, even though I do like Jon Stewart a lot, right? It's probably my most liberal trait. I like Jon Stewart. I think Jon Stewart was important in my development to a certain degree. Like, I acknowledge that. I'm not one of those people who's like, yeah, fuck Jon Stewart. Like, I'm so much more left than he is or whatever the fuck. Like, I think he did a lot of great work, and he had some really corny, cheesy fucking things that he did as well. And, ultimately, yeah, criticizing the military for not feeding the soldiers enough is like criticizing them for not offering a better education. It's missing the entire problem. You're just advocating for them to improve their recruitment. Yeah. Which they are. because they know that that is like a structural problem because recruitment numbers are low. So they are going to use that as an opportunity to do PR, and I'm sure they're like trying to fix that issue as well. For the record, he's done actual practice what he's done for veterans, but it's still not enough. Yeah, for the record, that's why I do like Jon Stewart, regardless of my differences in opinion with him, especially as it pertains to, liberalism versus like being anti-capitalist or having a perspective on like, what to do with the military. That's the reason. Do you understand? Had a very John McCain was the best anti-imperialist activist type beat. Yeah, that's a designated Hasanabi classic right there. That's one of my old bangers. That John McCain. How many planes did you drop in Vietnam, bitch? John McCain dropped 6. Okay, exactly.
Damn, this guy's good.